Carl gave up his life and they get to proceed on with theirs.
Carl Brody's former guardian says the punishment doesn't fit the crime.
And almost 2 years after losing their daughter by suicide, the family is finally getting closure.
Plus, reworking a bill to help Missouri kids with special needs. This is KOMU 8 News at 6.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
Family members are holding out hope for more justice in Carl Brody's death. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Reek.
And I'm Abby Dodge. Thanks for joining us. 2 of the 5 defendants in his case pleaded guilty to misdemeanors yesterday. KOMU 8's Alex Arger is here in the studio with what some of the family has to say.
This is where Carl Brody was found dead in April of 2017. Monday, 2 out of 5 suspects in the death investigation pleaded guilty for their involvement in Brody's death. But today, some close to the case hope this isn't the last time those suspects will be in court. Both Anthony R.K. Flores and Shayna Osborne pleaded guilty to 1 count of making a false report of a missing person in 2018 Monday. But this is just a misdemeanor.
I think they got away with a slap on the wrist.
Brody's former guardian believes the charges should have been heavier, and she and the family spokesperson say they're hopeful a federal investigation could find something the state didn't.
I feel that they know more than they're telling, but for what they're telling, there's nothing more that the prosecutor can do because they have no proof.
Sampson said she wanted a federal investigation to start the day Brody's body was found, but any further investigation would take time. And right now, Martin says real justice will only be served
if the federal charges come down.
She and Sampson hope the next 3 trials of Mary Kay Paulo, Anthony Flores, and Sherry Paulo result in a maximum sentence for their crime. And Sampson says she hopes they think about this crime every day of that sentence.
I hope what they've done haunts them for the rest of their life. I hope it haunts all of these people for the rest of their life.
Martin says today she feels depressed and disheartened because Flores and Osborne are home and Carl is gone. But she says those 2 suspects were the small fish in a large pond, and she thinks the upcoming trials will give real justice for Carl. She hopes a possible federal investigation finds the evidence to put all 5 suspects in jail. In the studio, Alex Arger, KOMU 8 News.
New developments in a Target 8 investigation that looked into bullying at Mid-Missouri schools.
Nearly 2 years after 13-year-old Riley Wagner died by suicide, her family is getting the closure they wanted. KOMU 8's Sydney Kalich takes a closer look.
Riley's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Hallsville School Districts in July of last year. After what one lawyer said was an 18-month investigation, today the settlement is final and the start of healing for Riley's family can begin.
It goes like this, the 4th, the 5th, the minor fall, major lift.
This was the voice of 13-year-old Riley Wagner. 2 years have passed since her parents had last heard her. But today, behind these doors, some form of closure was reached.
That very thing, in a word, it's closure. It's time for folks to be able to move on and for this family to continue healing. That's the most important thing.
The details of the settlement are confidential, but Hallsville School District did say, quote, as specified in the settlement agreement, the district denies any and all of wrongdoing by the Board of Education, administrators, teachers, or other employees. When we spoke with her mother just 1 month after Riley's death, she said beyond the school, society needed to be better as a whole.
She was in therapy, but no amount of coping skills a child can learn can take away the pain that they hear from their peers.
Riley's 15th birthday would have been this past Sunday. Since her death, her family has established the Riley's Rainbow Foundation. It advocates against bullying and for safe learning environments for all children. In the studio, Sydney Kalich, KOMU 8 News.
Here's what's happening right now. House Democrats voted to block President Trump's emergency declaration, which would have given him billions of dollars to build a border wall. 13 Republicans joined the Democrats for a 245 to 182 vote. Next, it will move to the GOP-led Senate. While passage seems possible, at least 4 Republicans might back the Democrats' side. We will continue to follow the story.
A state lawmaker is trying to revitalize an old law to help more educational opportunities to children with special needs. The legislation is called Bryce's Law, named after the original bill sponsor's grandson who had autism. The bill became law, but never helped a single student. KOMU 8's Eric Graves is in the studio with how a new look hopes to give new life to an old bill.
Republican Representative Donnie Bailey is trying to change how the bill is funded so it can actually help kids. The bill is designed to give scholarships to students with special needs to help them pay for private schools. For Bailey, this bill is close to her heart. Her son Asher is on the autism spectrum. She said she has great resources at her son's school, but is worried about the parents and children who don't. Her bill reworks Bryce's Law so the funding comes from outside donations and possibly state appropriations. A Missouri National Education Association representative opposed the bill because he said state money should not go to private schools. He said that money could go to help special needs programs at public schools.
We have opportunities for school districts to collaborate. There are statutes that specify that. There are also statutes that give broad authority to make contractual arrangements with other entities.
I know the emotional roller coaster I went through. And like I said, if I had to figure out all the education and therapies and resources without the things I already had in my district, it would have been awful.
Bailey said she is willing to take her own time to work with the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to help find people who would donate to the scholarship fund. In the studio, Eric Graves, KOMU 8 News.
Also at the Capitol, a new House bill adds Fayette to a list of Missouri towns with safety concerns. In this case, a need for a sales tax for safety equipment. The current combined sales tax rate in Fayette is about 8%. The town wants to increase it by 0.5%. Fayette would like to buy items like vests and firefighting gear. If the Senate approves the bill, it will go to Fayette voters in April of 2020.
America's favorite crossing guard is right here in mid-Missouri. You'll meet him next.
Plus, a Boone County driver has a bone to pick with the county over the condition of his gravel road.
And not too bad. It's a lot warmer here today than it was yesterday. Actually, about 5 degrees warmer, at least at this hour. 10 degrees warmer up in Kirksville. I'm tracking this cool down that we're eventually going to get into, and some chances for some rain and snow and ice. It's coming up right after the break.